Hey, what's up, everyone? Political Brown Kid here. I'm back. Um, Hope you missed me. Let me say that. Probably haven't. You just probably hate me so much that you can't stop from tuning in. You ever had a show like that? A show that you just hated so much, but you had to watch it? Someone that you hated so much that you just had to watch to see what happened to them? It's kind of how I felt about Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones. Kind of how I felt about what's the little some Joffrey Lannister in Game of Thrones. Hated him so much, but I just wanted him on the screen all the time so I could see something bad happen to him. You're just waiting for the end. I hope that's not the way you feel about me. I'm really here trying to help. For all intents and purposes. Some of you may feel as though I'm doing more harm than good. You're rehashing old wounds. Why don't you just go away and be quiet? I can't do that. I'm trying to help you. Today, this is what I want to talk about. And I'm going to try to make these short as possible because I know you guys get tired of hearing me talk for so long. But it's good. Look, this is good exercise and material. You can walk, you can get on a treadmill, or you can take a walk through your neighborhood, take a walk down the trail and just listen to me rant. By the time you're done, you got your 20,000 steps in. You got 20,000. You didn't get 10,000. You got 20,000 steps in. So just think about that. And you can be mad. Get your blood pressure up at the same time. Listening to me. Get your blood pressure up and get in 10, 20,000 steps. That'll help you burn off twice or 4 times as many calories. You can burn off calories just by walking. But imagine burning calories while stressed out listening to me. Getting your blood pressure up. Boy, I think instead of you'll burn 4 times as many calories. But let me be quiet. Let me stay on topic. What I want to talk to you today is about differing perspectives on U.S. race relations. It's just something that I'll tell you guys, I don't claim to be the smartest person in the world, but I am pretty smart. I do believe I'm pretty smart. I kind of think highly of myself, at least when it comes to my intelligence, not in anything else. Personality is screwed up. I'm not the best thing to look at. That's why I do audio podcasts. But my intelligence, I think, is off the charts. That's one thing I do excel at. Creative thinking, analytical thinking. I'm a left-handed. I'm a right-brain thinker. But this is what I want to bring to you today. Let's look at the differing perspectives on U.S. race relations. And look, I don't do any homework too much. I just freestyle because like I told y'all, I pay attention to what's going on in the world. Black people and white people have differing perspectives on the race relations. They've always had. That's why it took 2020 in George Floyd's unfortunate situation. That's unfortunate. I couldn't even watch that video. I watched 2 seconds. And the pressure that I saw on that man's neck and the way his face was against that concrete. I'm trying not to be too graphic. If George Floyd's family is paying attention, please apologize. I do not mean to be offensive. But just watch. I couldn't watch I watched 2-3 seconds and I said, I can't look at this. But it took 2020, the year 2020, for people, for all kind of companies and all kind of people who had racist opinions and oppressive, if not racist, very oppressive opinions and viewpoints to finally say Black Lives Matter. We get it. Look at Commissioner Goodell. This man, Colin Kaepernick, been out of a job for 58 million years. Or 58 million seconds, at least, milliseconds. He's been out of something for 58 million something. And now they want to come out and say, someone should give him a job. Now you want to say that? This man been out of football for 5 years. He probably rusty as hell. He probably, if you put him in the NFL right now, he probably fail, for real. He probably really fail. And then people be like, damn, why'd he fail? Because he ain't played in 4 years. He's probably past his prime. We don't know, but the man's been out of the league for 4 years. Now I'm reading about a police officer. Well, before I get to the police officer, there was I think they said it was a transgender. I hope I'm not messing this up, but it was a transgender black person that worked for L'Oreal that tried to bring awareness to racial issues years ago, and L'Oreal let him go. Now all of a sudden, we want you back. Is to be a spokesperson for race. Now you want to hire the person probably went through bankruptcy and all kind of stuff. And then I'm hearing about a black female police officer who tried to protect a citizen from being put in a chokehold from a white officer, and she got fired. And now, years later, they want to open up her case. Good thing you want to open it up, but you are years too late on all this stuff. The perspectives on race relations are so different. I'm telling you, y'all hear that national anthem and y'all start standing up and start crying. I'm just being honest. That was probably my cell phone going off if you heard it. But y'all start hearing that national anthem, y'all stand up and start crying, and we be looking around like, for real? I mean, it's not that, we just kind of like, we're indifferent because we have a different history with America. And also, too, to be honest with you, sometimes I'm like, I'm at a sporting event. Why am I have to stay? If I was in a public school system, yeah, I wouldn't mind standing, I guess, because the public school is funding for me to come here and get educated. But this private sporting event don't have anything to do with the military bringing out a big flag and covering the field and parading out some military people and to take 20 minutes before a football game to have a dedication to America every Sunday. Every Sunday. It gets to be, it's like almost like you're trying to brainwash me and do propaganda. We might as well be in Russia or China. I don't need it. I'm here to watch a football game. If I want to stand for the national flag, I go watch Fox News. Or I would turn on something to watch Congress or something. But it's a different perspective on race relations. But that's not here what I'm really here to talk about, even though that's a part of it. If I was watching some movies and I just said, man, there's some parallels here. And even before I talk about the movies, let me say this. Paula Deen, I told you I talked about Paula Deen before too. I haven't talked too much about her, but I've referenced her. Paula Deen made some comments, and they were racially insensitive. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say race. I really don't even recall what the comments were. She was just talking about how she had her black people dress up as, having slave themed type events. I want to say that's what I think. It was alleged. Let me just throw that in there, or I may not totally have my facts right. You would have to look it up. But she made some comments like that. They were along those lines. I'm paraphrasing here, but she made some comments that just kind of made it seem like, it was like, I'm dreaming of the good old days. That's when black people and white people really got along. Kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what the sense that you got from her. Yeah, the guy from Duck Dynasty. I don't watch Duck Dynasty show, so I couldn't tell you which one of them bearded jokers said it. Them crazy long beards, ZZ Top beards. Remember ZZ Top? No disrespect to ZZ Top. I didn't listen to ZZ Top music, but I remember them. They were the first ones that had them big long beards, had them guitars. They were hot and they were popular. It wasn't my genre, but no disrespect. I'm pretty sure that ZZ Top was fantastic at what they do. If you go look them up, I'm hoping to get their catalog exposed or get their catalog streams up so they can get some revenue from it. Not that they probably need it, but there's no disrespect to them. But getting back on topic, one of them Duck Dynasty dudes made a comment. Black people and white people, we got along so good back in the good old days. In post-slavery and segregation time, black people and white people didn't have these racial problems, and now all these racial problems popping up. We got along well. I'm paraphrasing here. Not his exact words, but somewhere along those lines. And black people are like, what the hell is he talking about? But this is the white perspective. This is two cases that I pointed out. You've heard this repeated time and time again where you hear white people talk about the good old days. You hear President Trump make America great again. When? For who? Great again how? Me working in the fields or working in the kitchen? My wife in the kitchen, I'm in the fields. And you sitting on the porch drinking lemonade, not having to lit the thing. I'm just trying to figure out what period are we talking about? Me having to go into the alley to get something to eat through a slot in the back of the alley wall or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. So when I say black black perspectives and white perspectives. When we hear these type of words, we hear something totally different. White people just say, no, you see, there you racializing things. No, I didn't racialize anything. America racialized it. So when you start talking about going back to a time, back in time for black people wasn't good. The 80s weren't even real. The 80s were, we were kind of disillusioned. But hell, Reagan was pumping the street full of cocaine through the CIA and Ollie North. Allegedly. It's a conspiracy theory. I will add that disclaimer in. It's an allegedly conspiracy theory. So I don't know what time period we're trying to go back to, people. But this is the real point that this is what I really want to get down to, the movies. I talked about factual reality with Paula Deen, with the Duck Dynasty person, don't know which one, I'll just say person, and even with Make America Great Again with President Donald Trump. I want to talk about some movies. You go back and you start watching movies. Let's start off with Alex Haley's Roots. This is coming from a black perspective. Alex Haley, black perspective. If you look at the time of racism in Alex Haley's Roots, what you see is slaves getting beat. What you see is slaves getting raped. What you see is slaves getting their feet cut off. They're getting their bodies, mutilated. That's the word that I'm looking for. They're doing all kind of awful things to black people in Roots. Slaves are trying to get out of there. Slaves are feeling hopeless. Slaves are feeling like they gotta step and fetch for white people in order to survive. It's not a good feeling when you watch it. And that's coming from a black perspective. You watch other movies. He did a whole series. He did Roots Next Generation, Roots Christmas, Queen. He did about 39 Roots films. Seriously. It wasn't 39, but there's a lot of them. Because Roots was a 5-part series. Queen was like a 5-part series. Roots was a 5-part. Queen 5-part. Roots Next Generation 5-part. Roots Christmas. It's all kind of stuff. But you go back and watch those Roots movies. You go back and you start looking at black slave-based movies. Oprah Winfrey did one, Beloved. You look at Oprah Winfrey's Beloved. And y'all know I've said some things about Oprah. But one thing I will say, Oprah put out a movie, Beloved. I don't know if it was her production company or someone's production, but Oprah starred in this movie. Along with Danny Glover. Elise Neal was in the movie. Or Kimberly Elise, not Elise Neal, but Kimberly Elise was in the movie. This movie was a powerful movie. And it showed her, spoiler alert, it showed what a woman would do to her kids to keep them from being enslaved. It goes to show you what the cost of freedom was for black people. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to say her movie was fact-based or not. I believe it was. I believe it probably happened. But this is the reality of black people. I can go on and on with a few other black movies. But now let's flip it to white movies. Because I'm not trying to make this a long-winded post. I know, like I said, I'm going to let you get your 10,000 steps in peace. I'm going to let you get your exercise in peace. I don't want your blood pressure up today. Now let's look at the white movies. Gone with the Wind. I don't recall seeing any slave in Gone with the Wind. I mean, was it Hattie Mae Daniels? I don't know her name. I forget her. Look, like I told y'all, my degrees are in information technology. My degrees are in management, business and business and technology. My degree is not in knowing people's names. It's not in history. But I think, I forget her name, but it was a older black woman. She played the house nanny, I guess. And all you really saw her was, oh, Charlie, take them shoes off. Boy, you better not come in my house. Get your feet off my floor. This black woman sassing. She being managed with the boss man. Seriously? In this time in the South? and she didn't get whooped, beat, or get her neck stretched. Seriously, and then it was just about this, no, this Southern Confederate love story, and there was just this black lady in the house running the house and happy. I watched the movie. I think it's The Patriot, Mel Gibson. I didn't watch the whole movie. Look, I'm telling you, because so I could be wrong on this movie. I did see Gone with the Wind front to back. Don't ask me why. The only reason why I watched because my wife loved Gone with the Wind. I hate Gone with the Wind. But I watched it front to back to be like, it was, matter of fact, nothing was on that day. Not a thing was on that day. And I just said, the TV was on and I'm back and forth, but I saw I'm in and out, but I saw it. And I'm like, there was nothing special about this movie. Why was this movie such a classic? I don't get, it's just not my genre. It's not my genre. I don't, I'm not trying to say it was a bad production. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. And I was just kind of like, all right. But maybe it was a hot movie for the time that it was in. Because they didn't have CGI back then. They didn't have where you could superimpose a dinosaur or some aliens into a movie. So it's not my thing. I told you I'm into tech movies. Battlestar Galactica. I watch Battlestar Galactica. I like the new one with Ever James Olmos in it. I just finished watching that on my YouTube TV. But I digress. Let me get back to these movies. I watched some of The Patriot. Let me just say that. I think that's Mel Gibson in it. Like I said, I caught the beginning because I was curious because this is when it started to pique my interest. Like I'm noticing a pattern between white perspectives on slavery and black perspectives. The movie starts out with The Patriot. Spoiler alert. You see these slaves in the field. People are working or doing some work, but they don't look exhausted. And Mel Gibson's laying around. And then this little slave, they looking for Mel Gibson, the white people. And so this little slave boy's laughing with him. And these slaves are laughing and having a good time. They don't look like they're under duress. They don't look like they don't look captive or anything. I don't make this up. I'm not making this up. It's another movie too. Slips my mind. North and South was out there. You watch North and South. That started my man from Ghost. It's unfortunate he passed away, man. I loved him in Ghost. I forget his name right now. His brother looked just like him. They got that same feature. His brother looked just like him. He could dance his tail off. He was in Dirty Dancing too. He could dance his tail off. Everybody talk about John Travolta. Man, you crazy. Patrick Swayze danced his tail off. He had that move. Nobody put Baby in a corner. Y'all must be tripping if y'all gonna put Baby in a corner. Get on up here on the stage, girl. Let's show your parents what I taught you. He danced his tail off. But I think he was in North and South, I do believe. It's a different perspective on slavery. Then they got this nerve. They had the nerve to make this movie called Free State of Jones. It could have been a true story. It could not. I don't know. Maybe that's why they made it, because it was a true story. Because they wanted to show a white man getting it on with a black woman. Bedwenching. That's what it was. It was bedwenching. And of course, she a light-skinned black. I told you they love them light-skinned black women because they're not really black. They're part of us too, right? Isn't that what they said? But here it is. Free State of Jones. Here's this white man coming to be the savior of black people. And he living amongst the blacks, and he kind of, galvanized and hanging out together, and he's living free amongst them, living free with them, rebelling with them. It is a different perspective. Go back. I'm telling you, look, my mind, I have other movies on my mind. Like I told you, I do all this stuff freestyle. I don't look up things. Maybe that's why my show is horrible. Maybe why this podcast only got 4 viewers. But I don't say things that's crazy and not factual. Go look up any movie that's a slave-based movie and look at it. If it's made by a white person, the slaves aren't even in the movie. There's no mention of slavery. If the movie is based upon, like in the 1800s, there's no slaves in that movie at all. And if they are in there, they happy. They're not getting their ass whooped. They're not being lit. There's nothing going on. Then you go look at a black-based movie. Go look at Alex Haley's Roots. Go look at Oprah Winfrey's Beloved. I'm telling you, you're going to see a totally different thing. That's why I say the perspectives on race is totally different. And you look at it today, I'm hearing crazy senators talk about there's no problem with systemic race. Ted Cruz is probably the worst human being ever to just be born. Just be born. But he walking around breathing God's good air. Guess everybody has the right to be stupid. And he walking around breathing God's good air and just saying stupid stuff. He not the only one. There's a bunch of them. Systemic racism doesn't exist. This is what I'm saying when you talk about white people. Then you go ask a black person, hell yeah, racism exists. It is alive and well. Matter of fact, and a black person tell you, matter of fact, it's worse today than it was 200 years ago. That's what a black person will tell you. White person will tell you, ain't nothing going on. We are all fine. Racism is only in people's heads. And black people will tell you, hell nah. White man will tell you, we get our asses whooped by the cops more than black people. Of course you do. It's 200 million white people in this country. It's only 20 million black people in this country. So if you want to talk disproportionate, like I say, white people like to play games with numbers. Whenever they want to play the victim, they start saying, oh yeah, we're getting our ass whooped. But when you're talking about proportionality, which is what y'all love to talk about when y'all start talking welfare, about how we disproportionately on welfare, knowing damn well there's more white people on welfare than blacks. Y'all want to talk percentages and proportionate. But now that they're talking about police brutality, you want to talk about just total quantitative or quantitative numbers. Well, white people getting their asses whipped more. Yeah, it's 200 million of you out here. So, of course, if 10% of you is acting a fool, or even just 1% of you is acting a fool, that's what? 2 million of y'all acting a fool. So 2 million of you probably maybe deserve to get your ass whooped. I don't know. I'm not trying to say you deserve it. But yeah, 2 million of you probably did get your ass whooped. But there's only 20 million blacks in this country. So really should only be, 20,000 of us getting our ass, or 200,000 of us getting our ass whooped? I don't know. But stop playing these games with numbers. Again, like I said, we have a differing perspective on U.S. race relations here in the United States. And probably not even just here in the United States, probably all over the world. So just something to think about as you're getting in your 2,000 steps for the day, as you're trying to, get your calories burned. Also getting your heart rate up. You can also get your blood pressure up by listening to me. This is a political brown kid. Again, hit me up if you got something that you want to say. Hit me up. I'm here. I'm available. Just reach out, click the button, and just start typing. I'm out of here. Peace.